The first Easter Sunday, Jesus appeared among his disciples in an upper room and said, "Peace be with you." Peace be with you. That's right, that's exactly what he said. And peace be with you. And as he said, peace be with you, he was talking to 10 disciples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's more than 10. I know there's more than 10 disciples, but as you know at this stage, Judas Iscariot has left, and we now are left with 11. That's right. So you've just spotted a problem with our story, haven't you? One of the disciples was missing from the upper room when Jesus called to see the disciples. And Jesus was with them all, and a little later, the disciple who was missing, and we don't know why he was missing. Maybe he went just to do the shopping. I don't know. Maybe he should buy bars and sweets and chocolate and fizzy drinks. No, he didn't do any of that because they didn't have any of those things in those days, Eamon. So what I want you to think about is he wasn't there, and when he came back to the upper room, they all said, "We have great news for you." Great news altogether. Jesus has risen from the dead. Wah! That's right. But they didn't believe him. Or he didn't believe them, I should say. Because he wasn't there. He didn't see it. And because he didn't see Jesus walking around, he didn't believe that Jesus had risen from the dead. And he told them, unless I see him, unless I put my fingers into the holes in his hands where he was crucified, I will not believe it. I doubt it. That's right, I doubt it. So a week later, Jesus appeared again in the upper room. And as he appeared in the upper room, he said, "Peace be with you." Peace be with you again. Yeah. And when he said, "Peace be with you," Thomas was there. And Jesus says, "Come up and see me now. Come on, take a look at me hands. Take a look at me hands and see. Look at me hands. Look at me hands." Well, he said something like that. And Thomas said, "Don't have to. I see you now. I see and I believe that you have risen from the dead." And Thomas threw his arms around Jesus. "Can I do that for you?" "Yeah, you can." "Oh, yeah, something like that, yeah. Yeah, like that there, yeah. Like that, yeah. He threw his arms around Jesus, and he realized that Jesus had indeed risen from the dead. And the good news is that after that story where Thomas doubted, that Jesus had risen from the dead, he now believed. I believe now. So the part of this story is about Jesus appearing to the disciples and about Thomas finding it hard to believe. Now you and I are going to have a bigger challenge because you and I have to believe that Jesus rose from the dead, but he's not standing among us today. He's not coming into our rooms and saying, "Peace be with you." You and I have to believe that Jesus rose again from the dead. And the reason we believe that Jesus rose from the dead is because we believe the church that has existed from that period of time, when those first people believed in Jesus, that church is still with us today and will continue into the future, because people everywhere will continue to believe that Jesus rose from the dead. And they don't doubt it. They don't doubt it. They believe it. They believe it. They trust it. They trust it. And they have faith. They have faith. That's right, they have faith. So this is a really important story, and it's important for us to think about it and to ask ourselves, if we had been around at the time of Thomas, would we have believed that Jesus had risen from the dead? Would we believe it after we saw him being crucified on a cross? Would we believe it after we saw him being buried in a tomb? Would we believe that Jesus is alive today? Well, we all now, as followers of Jesus, believe that he has risen from the dead. And we celebrate that in these days after Easter. I'm going to ask you to say a prayer after me today, please, if you don't mind. Dear God, thank you for helping Thomas to believe that you had raised Jesus from the dead. Help me to trust that you have raised Jesus too, and behave each day because he is walking beside us. Amen. We're going to say together the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And the Lord bless you and keep you today and forever. Amen. Thank you for listening so carefully to our assembly today. And thank you for joining with us each week as you do. And thank you to your teachers for making it possible for you to join with us each week. It wouldn't be possible without everyone playing their part in this.
Yeah.